Welcome to one of the most beautiful places in the world.
Hundreds of thousands of fans that are pouring in to Montpellier. Yes, I did say hundreds of thousands. This is the big show. That was a double backflip transfer. That is insane.
The largest action sports festival in the world.
Hello and welcome again, guys. Back here with the sun setting in Montpellier. That's right, the FIS World Series 2019, presented by Honor and Montpellier Mediterranee Metropole. Ryan Meyer, joined by Daryl now. Daryl, thanks so much for joining us. We know it was a long trip for you to get out here. You missed it last night. Dom was filling in. How are you feeling?
Ryan, it was great to have Dom back in the booth, hear her voice cheering on the fellow riders, but I got to tell you, it is awesome to be here tonight because we have hundreds of thousands of fans gearing up for one of the biggest events in all of BMX. We're talking about our Spine Finals.
That's right, guys. The BMX Freestyle Spine Ram Pro Men's Finals. You hear the crowd there. Look at it on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. You see the riders warming up. An incredible contest for the FIS. The sun is just going down. We're going to be able to get two things with the sun setting, that beautiful golden hour out here. I'm so excited to be presenting this one with none other than you, Daryl.
It's a big honor to be here with you, but also listen to the crowd going absolutely crazy, lighting up the sky. This is the perfect time, the perfect temperature, and we're about to have the perfect contest. So yesterday you mentioned a little bit about our qualifying that we had, and we're getting ready for our final where we have 16 of the best riders getting ready to throw down big.
If you guys haven't heard about us talking about the Spine Ramp Final at Montpellier before, well, I'm telling you, you are in a showstopper tonight. This is one of the biggest events in BMX, period. Any single contest you can go to, the crowd is nothing compared to this one out here. You watch the riders, though, however, you see the start list on screen right now. We're starting things off with Germany.
All right, so Germany, Tobias Sprengang, Sergio Leos, Bryce Tryon, Cam Peak, Juan Medona, Jay Tui, Mike Varga, Kieran Riley are going to be your first 8 riders. Then Pat Casey, Jason Watts, Jose Torres-Gil, Kostya Andreev, Jack Clark, Mark Webb, Justin Dowell, and Dennis Anderson. Those are going to be our 16 riders. They are going to be in reverse order from the way that they qualified yesterday. As you can just see the electricity building here on our spine ramp as we are just a few moments away from launching our final.
Wow, and if you guys do not have the lucky fortune of being out there in the crowd, you're watching online or on your TV sets back at home, make sure you as well join us on your mobile device. Catch us on Facebook, FIS.official, or Twitter and Instagram at FIS World. As well, YouTube channel has some amazing content. Just type in FISE, that's FIS, into the search bar, and you guys can stay involved with all the action by hashtagging FIS Montpellier. We have some great stories going on our Instagram. We have tons of in-depth feed. We have rider takeovers day by day, but we have live action on our Facebook and on our Instagram stories directly on the pits. On top of the deck, we have our social media team working day in and day out to bring you guys covers that you don't see here on the webcast. So as much as we're bringing you some amazing input and some amazing voices for that, you get some incredible content as well on your mobile devices if you follow those networks. Well, going back to action though, you see the Music Festival Stadium set up in the background there of that incredible tens of thousands of spectators lining the hotel's plaza down here in Montpellier, and we see the freestyle athletes. They're pushing on the course and warming up to get things going. I mean, we've been doing this contest for years in the past, Daryl. It's one of the events that have made or break the careers for some of the athletes. I'm talking about people like Mark Webb. What does this event bring for BMX?
Yeah, it's such a special thing because I feel that this event in particular, you have all of your fans who have come to FIS throughout the course of the weekend. As the night grows, what we're going to see as far as the eye can go, fans are just going to flood right here to City Hall. It's such a special connection, such a special moment where you do have riders who have been part of Feast from almost the start, such as Mark Webb, who have a fan base, loyal diehards. Even if they've never ridden a bike before, you'll walk down the streets of Montpellier, and from the hotel rooms will be big banners saying, "Go Mark Webb, the Webby Show." And there's just that support, that camaraderie that's out here for all the riders, and that energy is fed back and forth. And when you have that, you've got the greatest setup and the stage as far as our spine ramp is concerned. You have one of the best contests possible that could go down.
You're talking about it, one of the best stages out there, but as well the history of the Fees and Montpellier. We started in 1997. I'm telling you, most of our audience demographic has not been alive since then. We just watched the BMX Freestyle, the UCI Park contest go down. John was a man who discovered BMX out here at the Fees in the audience and has now been able to turn it into his career and profession and make it into the finals. That's exactly what's happening out there tonight. You have new families coming out to watch the BMX athletes. You have professionals and everyone from all different sporting disciplines come out to watch this main event. It happens year after year at 9 p.m. in that crowd, and it just does not disappoint any time.
So you can see the start list on the screen. We are breaking our 16 riders down to 4 separate heats. It does not matter if you were in the first heat or the last heat. You're going to have 2 runs on the course. 50 seconds will be allotted on the clock, and it is going to be a best run format that counts. Our 3 judges are going to be Hank, known as Dave Cleworth. We have Bibi Romulad and Marcus Vilke, who are going to be on deck. You can actually see them in the back, giving a numeric value to our riders. In addition to the competition, we are also going to have a best trick contest going on. That is going to be scored and awarded separately. Each rider will have 3 attempts to get it done. But right now, we are starting things off with the Spanish rider, Tobias, dropping in, getting things rolling for his first run.
Tobias coming out of Germany, I believe, as he gets things going here with that ice pick to bar spin. As we get the first run underway here in the finals. This is one of the most hectic qualification periods for a contest. Last year we had over 300 athletes come out and try their luck moving into the qualifications. And if you guys were watching yesterday, one of the most incredible parts about this contest is how you see the amateur, the semi-professionals, and the absolute top legendary professionals jammed into one field together. You might have a rider who has not been riding for over a year trying to compete and qualify against a top professional like Mark Webb in the same heat, and that is the fun of the Fees out here.
Fun is definitely the key word for our spine final event. You see Bryce Tryon on deck, not yet to ride, but showing that support and that love, giving a pound. Now, throughout the course of the weekend at the Feast, we have hundreds of thousands of fans who come out to the event. And what we're going to see as the sun sets further and further into the night, more and more people crowd. And it's going to just be as far as our eyes are going to be able to take in as the energy just builds, the party atmosphere out here, and the support is showed to the riders. There's a look at a no-handed 360 over the spine. That is a 6-foot-tall coping ramp. Perfect transition on either side. There's the ice pick on the back peg, getting that stall up on that foot for the foot jam in the front wheel. And you see him getting a little bit rad right there, pumping the hand. So a 71, the best score possible will be 100. Starting things off, setting the tone, setting it with the 71. So it looks like we're skipping over Sergio Leos. I hope that he is okay. We did not see him out on course. Ooh! This was Bryce Tryon.
Wow, Bryce Tryon putting his feet up. That's kind of the telltale. You just got winded on this one. That was a heavy, heavy hit. As Catfish is right down there to test him. I actually missed completely on the screen what went down here, but Bryce Tryon.
Unfortunately, it was Bryce that went down, but he's back on his feet. Listen to the love And the smile is on Ryan. I believe you called it right there. Just got the wind out of him. Catfish checking, making sure he's okay. Catfish is one of the voices that you hear on the ramp, getting the crowd hyped up. I feel like he lives for this atmosphere. You actually saw Bryce Tryon's dad down there showing him the support, making sure he's okay. And Bryce will have one more opportunity and run to get things done, because this is a best run format that counts. So we got one more rider of heat number 1. We witnessed him in the semifinals. You see he's rocking a brand new sponsor on his helmet, Mongoose. This is Cam Peak. Ooh, Cam starting things with the 360 bar spin to tabletop. Downside 360 tail whip into a flare. Getting things really going out here. Oh.
That's an unfortunate one for Cam Peak, saving himself. This is the hard part, actually, rolling into the spine contest, is you don't have much room for error.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this course, because it is just the ramp out here. Oh, going for the hang 5. Just because there is the ramp, there's nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. Unfortunately, Cam right there looked like he maybe took a shot where no rider wants to. He's going to have another opportunity. But this course is so cool because it's honest. There's nowhere to go. Everyone's on the same platform and has the 50 seconds to work with. Now, if a rider crashes, puts a foot down, maybe doesn't pull a trick, they don't have to stop. You can keep utilizing the 50 seconds, and our 3 judges are going to be comparing it to the other riders that are out there. Now, the fact that this is not an Olympic qualifier, there's no Olympic points out here, there's going to be a little bit more focused on just having that good vibe and what do you bring here to the party. Doesn't mean it's not a contest. It doesn't mean we're not awarding scores and prize money. It just means that it's not part of the UCI as far as our points race goes towards the Olympics in 2020. That will be saved for our BMX Park final tomorrow. But right now, it's all about bringing what you got to the show on this Spine Mini with the sub, wall ride, and roller combo. So Tobias getting ready for his second run. You see it right there, run 2 of 2, 50 seconds ticking down now. 360 toboggan. I like the way he opted to grab his grip as opposed to the seat right there. Ooh, bar spin, tail tap, looking for maybe a variation out. You see Tobias is not rocking any brakes on his bike. It's all up to the rider's preference out there. So he's got to find that balance spot, not pulling it to stop his wheel with his weight. Bar spin, foot jam, hitting the pegs on the way in a smooth 540. Right into a flare, back to back to back. These tricks are really good when you can put them together like that. The difficulty increases with each wall when you put a harder trick down. Can step through, 6 seconds to go. Lucky stall, toothpick, hitting the back peg for a tech combination. And a big flare at the buzzer. That's the backflip with the 180, looking to maybe come in fakie. Washing out a little bit, throwing it up, showing the appreciation, and it is reciprocated with a big round of applause.
Tobias Freigang right there from Germany doing it, his second run. Maybe if you guys were watching back home, you don't know some of these technical tricks and wondering, why is he hitting his back peg while entering back into the ramp on some hits? What is that?
Well, it's a little bit of style. You know, the riders have an opportunity for creativity out here. That's the coolest part about BMX and the freestyle part of it. So if a rider wants to stall for a long duration of time by finding their balance point on the lip trick, you totally can. Or if you want to just hit the peg coming in, kind of also beyond the style point, shows to the judges and also everybody else out there that you're in control, that you've got it what it takes, you're not dropping in sloppy, and that you have full domination of the trick that you're doing on the ramp.
It's also very difficult to keep your flow going, the speed up if you're doing a little ice slap on the way back in, and he was rewarded for that, as we see Tobias on top of the 73.3. Now going back to Bryce Tryon, who had a hard hit coming out here, gets that 360 bar spin into a double tail whip.
Ryan, I know you love when I pull out the BMX facts. A little bit of a fun history. Nate Hansen, one of the first riders to really start doing all those peg bonks. coming back in on the ramp. He also, in his part in Nowhere Fast, did a full cab 360 backwards and blew some minds. But right now, Bryce Tryon looking to blow our mind as he recovered from that hit in his first run. That was the Abubakar in fakie. Going backwards, you see that he has to utilize his cranks spinning backwards because he does not have a free coaster on his bike, and Bryce is going to wave that one off. So as we mentioned, it's a 2-run format. Best run's going to count, but we also have a contest within a contest. Our riders are going to be having an opportunity, 3 runs, to do a best trick. They are going to be taking that after we go through our heats, it looks like. As we're looking at Bryce going up with that Bubaka stall on the back wheel, utilizing that brake, and it looked like he wanted to potentially do a trick when he got up that other wall coming fakie, not able to put down. So he is going to get a 69 right there. You can see 73 is the top score by the Spaniard, Tobias Freegang, holding on strong as we move to our 4th and final rider of heat number 1, Cam Peak.
Like you mentioned, Cam Peak with that new Mongoose sponsorship, wanting to do good on that new bike out there.
Yeah, it's so cool. Lee Ramsdale, lifetime rider, is always out at the FEAS events cheering on all of his team members, making sure that everyone's taken care of. And you can actually see Lee down there in the crowd cheering on Cam as Catfish gets everybody hyped up. 360 bar spin to tabletop. Peak going over the spine, stepping through with the can-can. Look how high he's coming down right on top of the transition by that coping. That's how he's able to keep that momentum.
Also notice with no front brake on his bike, getting that foot jam both ways there, locking it into the larger part of the mini ramp there, coming back into the wall, pumping over the roller for speed, double tabletop there.
Yeah, the double table, taking the double take for the extra height as he just transfers out of that extension. So you're gonna see on either side of the ramp, we call them tombstones. It's a couple feet taller, putting the ramp closer to 7.5, 8 feet, as he gets that balance spot coming around on that front peg. And look at the pivot point on the wall, wedging the front wheel, switching around 180, putting the back in. Cam Peak with the big run.
Wow, that was the one he was looking for, really pushing on that.
So Cam Peak definitely pushed the limit for his second run. A lot of BMX is about pushing your own self and making things happen, but that 360 bar spin to tabletop was perfect. And look how high he got right in the transition, so close to the coping. That was off the tombstone we were talking about. He got the double tabletop for extra height. He's able to pull his body up and his bike right into it with his legs to get that double height. And here's the tech move right here. Going hang 5, wrapping around, having that 540 spin on the deck, fancy footwork with his feet on the tire, and then hopping right into pedals. Big run for Cam. You could actually see Kostya Andreev, always a favorite at this event, right in front of our screen as he's getting ready. Mike Vargas down there. It looks like Anthony Napolitan's in the crowd.
That is something I noticed. Anthony Napolitan out there. He was running around at dirt, but it's all about Cam Peak, waiting for his scores to come in on screen there. But that was the run he was looking for coming out in the second heat there. It's really going to be differentiating his trick ability as well, showing that he has those big tricks, landing that flare and such, but then also coming back with that big hang 540 to foot jam. Well, let's take a look back though. This was heat number 1. Your 4 riders, the 4 lowest qualified riders as we do this reverse seating order, but some big stuff already coming out of that first heat.
So Cam Peak right there, you see checking the goods, definitely having the face expression to match. Tobias going up and over with that flare, landing high. That's where a rider wants to be, in the top part of the transition. That white line on top of the ramp, that's coping. It's a piece of steel pipe that riders can balance with their bike. The reason it's steel, not only to protect the ramp, but also you can grind and slide on it as opposed to a wooden deck up top. And when a rider can land as close to that as possible, they're able to utilize their momentum to just flow down, and they could push into the transition to build speed. But Cam getting technical. We call it a lip trick because it's on the lip of the ramp, and I love the way that he just popped right on in. So we said it's a score from 0 to a 100 that is awarded, and these are the three gentlemen who will be giving them the points to the riders. The legends, Dave Cleworth from the UK. We have the German Marcus Wilk, and sandwiched right between the Frenchman, the Trails legend, Bibi, aka Romuald Noro. Definitely three legendary riders. Hank travels the world as one of the head judges on the FIS World Series, along with Bibi and Marcus. They eat, sleep, live, breathe BMX. And those three guys are going to be looking for all of the technical aspects that the riders need to put, which consists of difficulty, amplitude and flow, originality and style, control and execution, progression and variety. Basically 50 seconds to strut your stuff. You got to showcase the goods out here and make sure it all fits within that time. You don't want to put any feet down, and you want to try to get as much height as possible. It's the same transition, the same playing field as everyone else, and if you can hit that boost button and go up, it is usually rewarded with big rounds of applause. Well, our next rider is definitely exciting to see him out here from Brazil. This is Kieran Riley, charging out with the big height, twisting the handlebars and taking the hands off. Ooh, great combination, just looking so confident out there. I had an opportunity to ride with Mr. Madonna not too long ago at Woodward Camp, and he was having the time of his life when he said, I'm going to follow my dream being a BMX rider, and he is doing that just right now here at the finals in FIS. He said this was a dream come true to be putting his riding on the main stage like this and bringing his style to the party. Going up for that manual on the deck, dropping into a backflip. Landing a little bit flat, but you can just see that smile on his face. Disaster on the deck. Hitting a wall ride, and it is after buzzer, but a 180. There's a couple riders where that smile is just tattooed onto their face. Kevin Peraza is one that comes to mind, but also the Brazilian right here. Kieran Riley just loves to ride and brings his passion to the course. You can just see it written all over his smile. Bar spin to no-hander, and then he set up perfectly for the no-hander on the spine.
Checking out that bar spin to turn down right there, coming with the huge 1-foot can-can. Talking about Peraza, rocking those signature Peraza Vans on screen there. We'll be seeing Peraza come up in one of our last heats, I do believe. Oh no. No, possibly I take that back.
Well, the reason you're thinking the Kevin Peraza name, he rode in our BMX dirt competition, did extremely well out there. Peraza is not going to be in our final right now, but he is always a favorite. He actually got 4th in the dirt. So rad to see Kevin out here this weekend ripping things up. But another rider who definitely made waves in the dirt competition, he got 3rd and a podium. He is coming from Australia. He is known for riding on the Nitro Circus. This is none other than Jay Tui.
Yeah, Jay Tui just dominated out at the dirt course as well. Was on fire and having so much fun. But last night in the qualification, he really was on a run that nobody else expected. He was really low down in that qualification period. So a lot of other riders to come, and he was on top for a while. Big double tail whip right there. Jay Tui from Australia showing us his colors along, with a little bit of a case on that, or a heavy bit of a case. But coming back, trying to get his momentum with 15 seconds left on the clock.
Tui, 10 seconds to go. No-hander at height, washing out as he was not able to get the full pull around. We mentioned that Jay Tui is a Nitro Circus rider. One thing to note about that, that means night after night he is doing shows in enormous stadiums and really can thrive in a crowd scenario. Let's take a look. Tui blasting up. You see him spotting the landing. And here's the tail whips that are coming around. Excuse me, there's the flare, and we might see the tail whips. Here we go. Full commitment, last second, right down, getting it. And the crowd, that's what we're talking about, just pouring in as far as the eye can see. The spine ramp is just getting all the energy, and it's the focal point for our final here.
As Jay Tui waits to see what his score is going to be awarded, we're moving down to the next rider up. It's going to be coming out of Toronto, Canada. It's been very well known up here. You see the score rolling. It's a 60, so not going to be the score that Tui is looking for, but he showcased a few of his large tricks to us, and especially last night showed us what it looks like when Tui gets a full run in the bag. We'll wait for the second one on that, but the man in front of you on screen right now, coming out of Toronto, Canada, Raptors represent Mike Varga in the house here in Montpellier.
If there's ever a wild card you want to bring with you to a party, his name is Mike Varga. He's got the bike skills and the craziness to match. They go hand in hand as the Canadian does a double tire wall ride, downside 360 tail whip. What? Oh, going for the 900. Varga, you see, just coming up a little bit shy on the rotation. His body weight falls to the side, but he's able to get back up with 20 seconds to go. That's so crazy because he put down a full run prior, and then he's right back on it with the backflip. Varga ripping things with the bars. 10 seconds, wall tap. Let's see if he can stay in that zone. 360 double bar spin into a flare. Final thoughts for Varga as he spins around. Ice pick on the sub. And that is time with the can't step through for Varga. Wow, so Varga going for that 900. We've seen at Feast World Series in the past, he does have variations in the 9, but let's take a look at some of the highlights as the bars go around 2 times, and here's that flat spin, flare, bar spin, downside 360 tail whip. All of our riders are just getting right in that cherry spot by the coping. You see he does a tuck as he winds up getting the style on the 900, but just didn't get things around enough. There is the flip. Mike Varga is another one of the guys who sports a really cool backyard ramp setup. He's got his own custom build where it's definitely a little bit similar to the course that we're seeing out here, so he looks extremely comfortable. And that is the only way that you're able to throw down a 900, which was first done on a vert ramp, and Varga, thankfully not getting too hurt, able to get back up. Now, Ryan, thing we want to watch as far as our scores go is 65.66. The fact that this is not part of the Feast World Series in terms of the points race, and also as far as the Olympics points race, it's going to be interesting to see the judges. They might be laid back a little more. Maybe you actually get rewarded a little more for what you do, as opposed to being penalized for a foot going down or something happen.
Yeah, this has always been one of those more so rider-friendly, a rider ridden and judged event, but as well one for the crowd here, and a man who delivers for the crowd. Kieran Riley on one, the young gun coming out here last year and just blowing us away, but blowing me away last night as well. Kieran Riley on fire, as you guys can see in front here.
Kieran Riley, the prize fighter out there, just swinging haymaker after haymaker, connecting with each wall of the ramp as he nose bonks over the spine. Double tire ride. The tall order rider spinning the 360, rotating the handlebars, this time double time with the back wheel. Getting down into the meat and potatoes of his run with the bar spin 540, 8 seconds to go. Foot jam technical on that lip, no hander over the spine. Final moment, final thought, tire grab, getting a little bit round out there for the crowd, and he is rewarded with a huge roaring round of applause.
Wow, big ups to Kieran Riley, really going all the way until the end. But this little guy has so much ability on the bike to get these huge tricks. Look at that 360 double tail. Then he comes around here into a backflip 180, that flare tail whip. As well, he has that beautiful combination where he does the Superman tail whip on an air here. He also does a double Superman whip, but maybe we get a replay of that as well. There, the 540 bar spin with hardly any height or speed, was able to get that one off, and that is the score you need to beat at the bottom. He's really going to be pushing for that one to top Cam Peak's 82 even. Kieran Riley is on fire, though, out there. We're waiting for the judges to put it in. Let's see what the score is. It's an 87 even. Kieran Riley moves up into first place.
Big run, big score, big round of applause. Kieran Riley, definitely a crowd favorite out here as one of our younger riders making his presence known. So that was our 4 riders of heat number 2. We're gonna go back to the top of the ladder where we can see the Brazilian, Juan Medona, getting ready to roll in. Now watch the focus, and you're gonna see it switch. The smile is just gonna come in right under his mustache. There you go. His signature getting ready to drop. Oh, 270, Blind Faith coming in off that sub. Look at the height. So rad on the 360 toboggan. He tends to tweak his handlebars almost to that X-up spot, but just holds it and takes the little pause out there. Oh. Winds up slipping a pedal. You see that his shoe comes off. Winds up kicking it. We talked about his shoes earlier. What? No shoes needed. Kicking the tail whip with 1 foot off. He's actually rocking, as you said, the Kevin Peraza signature Vans shoe. But he's also got his own signature foot on his right side, getting it done. Big tail whip. All of our riders at home know that your BMX pedals, regardless if they are metal or plastic, definitely can take a mean bite out of your foot if you wind up putting it on there. But Medona losing a shoe and able to keep it rolling. You actually see Victor Peraza on deck holding up his brother's signature shoe. Take a look at the 270 down. That is the Blind Faith drop in. You got to just basically drop your shoulder in. There you see he slipped his foot and his shoe wound up pulling off a little bit, and there's the tail whip.
I couldn't imagine riding like that.
I'll be very interested to see what the bottom of his foot looks like. But he's still got that smile going on. So a 78, that's gonna put the Brazilian in 3rd place. 87 is gonna be the score to beat, as we've got our Australian, the showman, Jay Tui, getting ready to bring things in. Tui already having a very big weekend out here. This is the first year we brought BMX dirt back to Montpellier in quite some time, and he got a well-deserved 3rd on top of that podium. Tui definitely known for his big jumping variations, plenty of hang time where he can put things together. So let's see if Tui, though, can bring that distance that he usually jumps forwards to more of a up and down, because the furthest you're going to jump on this ramp is on the spine, and that is only traveling a couple inches forward across the gap.
So waiting now for the call from Hacksaw for Jay Tui to drop in. Judges need to be ready on top of the deck. Take a moment here to just give a shout out to the fees, of course, as well. Montpellier, Mediterranean Metropole, and Honor for helping us and supporting us, and as well the city of Montpellier for bringing us out here year after year. Started in 1997, the fees. We keep going over 2 decades later, pushing action sports to the world. Jay Tui, a new one out here this year from Australia, starting with a tuck no hander over the spine. Bar spin on the quarter pipe, tail whip over the spine backwards. Huge flare whip and sliding out on that one.
Dang, Tui going down. A 60 was his first run score. He's got 33 seconds to work with. All right, he's going to ham it up a little bit, get the crowd support. I have a feeling we might see something wild out of Tui. That's pretty much what he's known for. Anytime you got a crowd, a lot of energy, a ramp, a bicycle, and Jay Tui, that's usually a recipe for something that's never been done before. All of our riders are still going to have the best trick, but let's see if Tui is going to bring something here as the hyper rider is getting geared up, fueled by our fans cheering him on. Ryan, where's he going?
I think he is going to go pushing for something back on that other wall, coming back in the spot. Oh! What was that? Something we have been watching in the dirt contest.
Tui bringing some of his comfortability that he has in the Nitro Circus over that big booter, trying to do it on the spine. You see he actually threw his bike. There were no strings attached, trying to spin it all the way around and get the bike back under him. You can see Catfish down on course, mesmerized. Look at that. Not only did he throw the bike forward, coming around, look at that, tossing it. Also had the style points, just putting his arms to his side, not able to get it on. And the crowd here absolutely going bonkers, cheering on Jay Tui as he looks to throw down over the spine again. The Australian Tui rolling in, looking for a setup air. Montpellier is going completely wild as Tui goes for it.
Yeah! Oh, man! Jay Tui, what an incredible trick, but usually how it goes. Let's see, he's putting up the hands, saying he's done. I think Catfish is going to get that crowd excited enough to see one more attempt from Jay Tui. There is a best trick contest as well as here, and when you have 20,000 fans in an audience inside the middle of the street screaming your name and cheering for you, usually that adrenaline pumps up and we get to see something big come out of an athlete.
So Tui looking to flip his bike completely around 360 degrees. No hands, no feet, just all feeling, trying to get it right under him. The bike both times landing a little bit vertically as it wound up coming in on the transition. He wasn't able to get the distance his body needed. And it looks like Tui is getting back on the horse.
Here we go, Jay Tui getting pumped up with this crowd here in Montpellier. About 5,000 spectators in front of the ramp and about 15 behind. A massive audience here in Montpellier.
Tui, one of the only riders in the world doing this trick. I'm going to be honest with you, Ryan. I've never seen this done over a coping spine before. Here we go for Tui. Can he do it?
Oh, man, the bike just getting a bit too far away from Tui on this one. That's 3 attempts. That's usually how much it goes. Risking a lot. He's coming so hard down on his heels with that impact.
I have a feeling Tui right now, he is just getting the crowd worked up. This is a little bit of a preview saying we still have a best trick to come and being quite the showman. I think he's just hamming the crowd up, working them into a frenzy. As we know that Catfish is not going to let him ride away without giving it. So it looks like Varga is going to take back to the course. 2 more riders remain of heat number 2. 50 seconds per rider, 2 runs, best run counts. Heat 2 of 4 as the Canadian Mike Varga getting it going. You said Varga has one of the backyard setups that definitely resembles this ramp. Let's see if he can bring those skills that he practices on his home turf out here as he does a big bar spin with the flare, landing so high.
Beautiful catch on that transition, like you just said. 360 double tail. He's landing perfect on these transitions. 360 tuck no-hander over the spine and back into a bar spin, setting up.
Varga halfway mark, 23 seconds ticking away. Can't stepping over. Ice pick, that's when you balance on top of the back peg on the sub box. Yo, Varga getting it around. 10 seconds. Double tire ride. Varga we saw go for the 900. Can he get it? Oh! It looks like Varga might be trying a different type of spin out there. Maybe going a little bit further because he has the 9 so consistently. I don't want to call Varga out, but he's one of the only riders who has attempted to rotate further into different territory on a quarter pipe right there. So you saw the way his body weight was, but he is exiting the course. He's going to have an opportunity to get whatever he's thinking off his chest in our best trick competition. But look at the height on that flare bar spin, so high into the transition. Varga 360 double tail whip, smooth on the landing, just as on the takeoff. And here's a look at the 900. And you see he goes almost for that tuck coming in. A little bit similar to what we saw Brandon Lupos do his 9 style out there. Guys are getting so comfortable with that trick, which was once a dream. Varga, though, crashing 2 times on it. And again, he'll have another opportunity out there. So we are working through heat number 2. 1 rider remains. Great Britain's young gun, Kieran Riley. As we're waiting for score, you can see Jason Watts there on the side of your screen. He is going to be riding still. Mike Varga, 75. You see he's got his helmet. He's holding up loud and proud, keeping his dome protected. As Kieran Riley, you can see visualizing what he's about to throw down. His first run was definitely a heavy hitter, making contact with each wall, each side, big tricks. And the tall order rider looking to bring it for his second run. Kieran currently sitting in the top spot with an 87, but he knows with 2 more heats to go, he's gonna have to make it happen and bring it up and bring the energy. Montpellier about to bring the volume as Kieran Riley drops in off the sub box.
Oh, 360 double tail to bar spin into a flare whip, double tail whip on that side. Kieran is pushing to extend his lead in first place there.
How is that even possible? This ramp is a coping spine. You can see it's only a 6-inch travel from one side to the other, and he's able to put 4 hits in one air. Kieran off the front wheel on the sub, balancing in that pogo spot. Tail whip variation, so cool at his body weight. 540, this entire 50 seconds are a highlight reel so far.
Wow, an amazing run coming out of the young Kieran Riley right here. 1 foot can with 8 seconds left, going for a trick. There's a Superman whip right there. I think he wanted one more trick in there. Superman, oh, he's looking for a bar spin out of that one. Superman went back to bar spin.
Now, Ryan, usually after the runs, we watch the highlights from our riders out there. You might as well just put his whole run in slow-mo. That was a very big run. You actually see him limping a little bit. He might have injured himself on the course, but that 360 double tail up to bar spin done at the last second, the final thought before his wheels made contact on the ramp.
Wow, amazing run from Kieran. Look at that Superman tail up. It's when you do the tail up and throw your legs back directly into a Superman. That's 2 tricks in one, where you're so disconnected from one of your body parts to the other. An amazing trick to pull there, but at the very end, Kieran was trying to add a bar spin into that. I'm wondering if he's going to go back for that one here. See the score coming in, it is going to hold an 87. The first run for Kieran Riley will be that one on top still. Welcome back, guys. Here we are live in Montpellier for the BMX Freestyle Spine Ramp Pro Finals. You've been watching the first 2 heats of action go down right in front of us. You're watching highlights from Juan Madonna right now on screen. Heat number 2 highlights right here. Jay Tui, and then moving into Mike Varga from Canada. And right here, that's your first place leader so far today, Kieran Riley from Newcastle, Great Britain. Really doing justice, putting together 2 huge runs out there on the spine ramp course.
Yeah, Kieran, so consistent. You just said 2 huge runs. It is a best run format that counts. If it was both runs overall impression, Kieran definitely would be even higher up on the scoreboard if possible. But look right there, Jay Tui trying to push the limits of BMX spine ramp riding, flipping his entire bike forward, trying to get it under him. Here's a look at the Canadian Varga, and now back to Kieran Riley's second run. So crazy to hit those 4 tricks in there. 360, tail whip, and bar spin at the final moments when it came down. There was a look at the Superman tail whip, legs fully back and coming back around with the frame. Definitely making Morgan Wade, one of the first riders to ever do that trick, proud.
So here we are about to start things up for heat number 3 with the BMX Freestyle Spine Ramp Pro Final. FWS Montpellier 2019. About to get the 4 riders underway. Your 8th to 4th place qualifier, Pat Casey, Jason Watts, Jose Torres-Gil, and Kostya Andreev. You see there on screen, Pat Casey, your 8th place qualifier. He's going to be starting things up for you on the first spot.
Well, this is definitely the part of the party where the music gets turned up a little bit louder, the keg gets tapped, and the dance floor gets going, because Pat Casey has been one of our winners before at this competition. He's actually taken first place last year here, so he's the defending champ on the course. He also took first place in dirt, and he is looking to bring things out as the Fox rider rolls in and starts things with a 360 bar spin. Casey double peg grind on the sub. 360 bar spin to tail whip straight into a flare bar spin. The thing to note, so far Casey has hit something on each wall, and his landings are so smooth. He's got that word flow going on as he goes backwards on that 360 tail whip and somehow keeps things rolling.
Pat Casey, you mentioned before, he has one of the most incredible ramp setups in his backyard. Double tail whip right there with ease. Tail whip to fakie. Oh, going down on that one.
Casey taking a big sack right into the side of the ramp there. So Casey's one of the riders. We sometimes talk about bike setups. He's got that free coaster hub. He's able to go backwards without his cranks engaging, which is a little bit different than our riders we saw in the beginning, such as Bryce Tryon, who had to wind up pedaling backwards in his fakie spot. It might just open the door for some other tricks out on the ramp. It was actually first pioneered by Kurt Schmidt and all the standard riders back in Iowa in the 90s. And then you saw a resurgence in the 2000s as the technology wound up improving and riders could put that free coaster on their bike to go backwards like that. So Casey going down, it is that format, the best one's gonna count. So Casey has that ability to dig deep when it counts because he was our champion last year in this event. So he's gonna have a moment to get his thoughts together and see if he winds up changing his approach for his second run. You can see a little bit of blood coming out of his elbow. Casey is one tough cookie, so I don't think that is gonna really keep him off his bike for his second run. As we wait for the score to roll in, BB, Hank, and Marcus. You can see trying to figure out the scores. Great Britain, Germany, and France are our three judges' nationalities. A 74, so even with the crash coming in, Casey's still putting up a very respectable score. He's gonna be sitting in the 5th place, but we still have 3 more riders to go. Look at the way the camera just panned over to our Australian rider. This is the first time here, one of my favorites, and for good reason. Style pours out of this rider as he drops in. This is Jason Watts.
Check out the riding style from Jason. An absolute delight to have here in France. Phenomenal tricks, but such incredible style. This guy has what we want to see in freestyle BMX. Going for the knack, nose manual to 1-foot can, side saddle right there. Decade 540 from Jason, coming back over the spine with a toothpick tap.
Jason Watts, bar spin to X up. No-handed 360 fakie. There's the free coaster to a decade. Bam! Getting it done. Watts still has 8 seconds. Hitting a foot plant, a foot plant and slapping that back peg. No-hander into a foot jam. Great style on that 540, and Jason Watts making it happen.
What incredible style coming out of the boy from Brisbane. I love seeing this guy ride. I'm so happy he came out here to the Fees.
Jason Watts, no stranger to the BMX scene, getting a big beer right there. He actually has his own BMX crew, Fast and Loose, where he travels around the globe hitting all the unique concrete transitions out there. Brian, I had an opportunity to ride and travel in his van with him throughout Australia earlier in the year, and when I tell you that Jason has so much love for BMX, going backwards, wrapping around the head tube, putting the feet on the pedals. There's not many other riders out there that really have the love and live it as much as Jason does. Not only does he ride his bike like we just saw, that was amazing, but he also builds ramps as well. 87 is a score to beat an 85. All right. So really impressive. It's going to put him in that 2nd spot, but Kieran Riley is going to hold strong with the 87. Camp Peak in 3rd, and then Madonna sitting there with a 78 in 4th.
That's really what I want to see. Style taking over for those PlayStation tricks. Those video game tricks we saw coming out of the likes of Kieran Riley, where he's getting so many tail whips in one combination. Then you move forward to a rider, not saying that Kieran Riley has no style, that's definitely not what I'm saying, but Jason Watts just has such a different approach approach to tackling BMX, and you see that there's less tricks, there's less times that he takes his hands or his feet off the bike, but he does so in such an elegant way that it showcases huge style. But wow, have I ever seen somebody air that high on a spine ramp? I don't think so.
This is Jose Torres Gil in 2017. Made a name for himself by going so extremely high on this ramp, and if it's even possible, he is squeezing more juice from the fruit of this spine as he blasts higher and higher on each wall. Yes, going flat spin, a flare, tail whip. Jose Torres Gil back to the spine where he looks so comfortable, barrel rolled out in that dip 3, going the other way with the bar spin on that spin. Final thought right here as the clock is winding down. Backwards. What? Oh, looking for that half cab tail whip coming in. Not able to get his feet cleanly to the pedals, but still had that control and the commitment, and was able to wind up rolling away. Not cleanly, but still a very impressive trick to do, even getting it where your body is on top of the top tube.
I'm going to take this from a scrapbook in my history lesson. Calling skateboard announcing, we would call that a contest make. Not something you would really like to see executed in a video part, but if it's in a contest, we'll count it still. It's going to count for the points, but you're still going to get a little bit of a deduction. Not as full as if it would have been a clean one, but we'll count it for the books. However, seeing someone pop that high off of the coping, I mean, he's going double, if not 3 times as high as that spine ramp. I cannot believe that you can go that high. Flare whip right there from Jose, pumping back in. Here is the 180 fakie, half cab whip back in. And a score in. Jose Torres Gil takes it away from Kieran Riley, a new leader out there representing for Argentina. Jose Torres Gil, 89 is the score to beat as he takes over the hot seat.
Well, things are going to get interesting as we move to the other side of the planet and we get to our 4th rider of heat number 3. This is the Russian Kostya Andreev, who is always a crowd favorite here because of his technical abilities that he brings not only in the jumping as far as a quarter pipe air, but Ryan, the lip tricks, the balance, the precision. He's able to take Russian technical ability and deliver it time in and time out. That's why Kostya is always in the finals of this event and has actually won some of the best tricks here in the past. So Kostya Andreev, Russian, getting ready to stand behind their rider. Here we go, 50 seconds.
Here we go, Kostya Andreev on the deck, that bar spin, 360 tail whip, working things up into the double tail whip. Kostya Andreev blasting that flare, tuck no-hander into a tuck no-hander back, setting up on the spine, double peg over the coping there and back in. Huge flare whip. And here where things get technical for Kostya, bar spin to foot jam.
Kostya's regular riding on a daily basis would have most riders' heads spinning because of his technical abilities. Let's see if he digs deep into that bag of tricks as he decades around the top tube right there. That was crazy. His back end just stayed suspended in air as he spins out of the double peg. You see him throwing his hand up a little bit as he was not able to get the variation he wanted to while rolling fakie. There's a great difference to see the side-by-side comparison in the same heat as Kostya Andreev had to pedal backwards and Pat Casey was able to coast backwards. That's all it is the setup difference of their bike and the back wheel. Kostya with the bar spin to no-hander as he comes out of the vert wall into the quarter pipe. Look at the flare with the tail whip. Right now is a tail whip, 2 tuck no-hander. It's all about the body positioning. He's able to get his body where it needs to go, and it sets up perfectly for that decade around the top tube. So Kostya bringing it The score to beat out here, 89, held down by Jose Torres Gil. All right, so he's gonna get an 86, very impressive, putting him in potential podium standing, but we are gonna work through the pack as we are halfway through heat number 3. We're gonna climb back to the ladder. Pat Casey gonna take his second run. You can see Jason Watts in the background, who is yet to go. Casey is our defending champion in our spine event from last year. He's in the zone, Ryan. First place BMX Dirt in Montpellier, triumphant return. And I know Casey would love another first as the Mongoose rider drops off and drops in. 360 double bar spin, double peg on the sub, looking to set up with the truck driver to tail whip.
360 bar spin and then kicking the bike, 360 around as well. He goes downside tail up there in a 540 flare. Pardon me, just a corked out 540, then double peg stall over. Back of the 360 downside tail up over the spine into a double tail. Pat Casey winding things down, 20 seconds on the clock. He goes 360 with the fakie and not getting that for a second time. It's a huge upset for the American.
That is very disappointing out there. Casey getting that crash going on. Let's see if he can wind up tapping into some of that energy, because we could still see him back here for best trick. Look at the crowd. I mean, this is crazy. Like, just look at this. This is a BMX contest. This is a BMX contest, and it's also a party. This is the feast, and this is perfection. The biggest action sports festival in the world, where BMX is celebrated. And if your name is Jason Watts, you are going to be celebrated for your second run on course. And Watts lives for moments like this.
Like you were saying, this is a BMX contest, and I think it's the only BMX contest where you truly can feel like a rock star out there with a stadium-sized crowd to fill any of the largest in Europe or around the world. Jason Watts has come all the way over from Brisbane, from the Sunshine Coast of Australia, out here with a bit of the surfer touch on the 20-inch. Let's see what he has for his second run with a beautiful 360 look back. He spins that, what we would call goofy footed, so he's able to get an incredible rotation and click on that turn down. Toothpick stall coming over that coping. Bar spin to bar spin, tuck no hander straight up into a decade 540. Slipping his pedal on that landing though.
Watts has 25 seconds to go. I know riders around the world are cheering him on, especially the Backbone boys. That is one of the best BMX shops in the world in Australia. Oh! Where he is a local, trying to throw down some of the biggest moves out there. That combination is killer. Hopefully Watts gets back in to see one of the wildest moves we've ever seen in the history of the feast.
Jason Watts really pushing the style aspect. He's not going for the biggest tricks. What I mean in that is that he's not going for a 360 triple tail whip. He's not going for a double flare whip. He's going for fun out there.
Watts doing a shoey right there. He rides for Vans, taking his waffle sole, filling it up with some beer, and showing you his Australian roots as he just pounds that down. He actually threw his shoe into the crowd. He might have forgot that he's still going to have best trick that he can ride in. So he might wind up taking a page from Madonna's book and going with one shoe on, or maybe he'll dig into his bag and hopefully has another shoe. Two more riders remain from heat number 3. We talked about in 2017, his presence was known on the course where he got second place in spine. Some of the biggest airs have been pushed in the sport of BMX since then, and we just saw in his first run, unofficially the highest airs of the night. We're talking about the Argentinian rider of Jose Torres Gil, aka Maligno, which he is known as.
Unofficially, I will give you an official call on that. No one in this contest is going to touch Jose Torres Gil on that spine ramp. I don't think it's physically possible. If you would put this to a scientist, they couldn't work out how he is going that high. It is insane. Let's check it out as Jose drops in right here from Argentina. Massive height, looks like he's pumping 15 feet above the coping, then blasting into a double tail up, 360 unturned down or unlooked back, manual on top of the deck there, into a 360 tail up back on the spine.
Maligno using his superpower of height as he just goes higher and higher on each air as he does it downside 360 tail up spot in the pedals, fresh and clean for that no-hander. Getting the bike sideways as he comes around with the bars on that 360, nosediving it in. Maligno is just on one right now. He is our current leader with an 89, but he wants to turn things up. Can he get this fakie going and a tail whip in? He somehow pulls it clean. He winds up having some traffic on the deck and works his way through and is able to get that half cab tail whip. That was a big run, Ryan.
Jose Torres is already sitting on top of the world here with the first place, an 89.00 coming out of his first run, but he just delivered perfection, coming out with that 180, rotating around into a half cab tail whip, landing that one clean. Let's take a look at some of the highlights. Jose Torres, I think, has just improved his lead over Kieran Riley.
Whoa, that height, clearing the back radar railing. That was so big. That's not even an understatement. Look at this, one of the highest airs out here, just Jose Torres Gil. And watch this, talk about an evening commute, avoiding traffic as he goes over the wire of our camera operator and then gets that half cab coming in with the tail whip, spotting the transition coming down. What a big run and big riding and an even bigger heart for Maligno. Jose Torres Gil, 93.33.
Over 6 points ahead of Kieran Riley in second place. The first person to push into the 90s here, and Jose Torres Gil just solidified his spot on top.
That is going to be one difficult score to try and top. That was crazy. Not only did he have the height, but he had the tech with that half cab backwards, finding his spot and then flipping it back around with the tail whip. Our next rider from Russia has the technical skills that could potentially combat that of Jose Torres. But does he have the height, and can he put it together in the 50 seconds out there? We're talking about Kostya Andreev. He is getting fueled up and getting ready to put the fire to the ramp. You see him visualizing right now, and you see him just having a good time in this moment. Here we go.
Kostya Andreev dropping in with a big backflip drop in. Shout out to late grave Dave Muir right there. Bar spin into a bar spin foot jam. Coming back over the spine of the truck driver. Huge bar spin to tuck no hander and a 360 tail up to bar spin on the spine.
Kostya looking to get it done with that double tail whip. Foot jam, foot on either side of that fork blade around the front wheel. 22 seconds, bar spin, double time on that three, yes! Finding his footwork, double bar spin, looking for the tail whip. Excuse me, looking for the tail tap.
Kostya's coming back for it. Look at the way he spins the bars. Oh! Oh! Double tail whip to foot jam whip back in.
You know, I said the wrong word, but it was as if I was reading his mind of what was to come. We were talking about the tail tap when we meant tail whip and vice versa. Kostya Andreev, the mind reader out there, getting that double tail whip, putting his foot right in the front tire, finding the balance position point, and then spinning that frame all the way around. Let's look at the highlight reel. The backflip drop in, so difficult to do on that quarter pipe. It's not like a large wall coming down that we've seen some riders do in our semifinal today out in the park course. Right now, Kostya coming up, flat spin 540 flare, and we're saying it's somewhere in between the two, that flat spin flare or the 540. And there was the whip coming around 2 times, foot jam in, and there you go, big smile. I think he kind of surprised himself on that one out there.
Getting it done first try, amazing riding from Kostya.
From the United States, Dennis Ederson.
You can see Matty Ratty down there, long hair, goatee, this time fully clothed. In our qualifier yesterday, he was rocking the thong out there. But we've got all of our riders cheering on our fellow riders, because this definitely is a party. You can see Eddie Peraza in the crowd down there, Victor Peraza as well. Let's look at the highlights, though. Pat Casey, 360 tail up to fakie, getting the half cab around. Jason Watts ripping things up. As we said, the Backbone boys were cheering him on. The shop out in Canberra, where he is a local at. The Belco riders just had the Act Jam not too long ago, and they witnessed the madness, which is Watts, and now he's bringing it to the main stage here in Montpellier. But it's all about the height from Maligno. Jose Torres Gil putting it done in the allotted time. The 50 seconds were his as he was strutting his stuff on that main stage. Looking at Kostya Andreev. Back to Pat Casey. Jason Watts, the cult rider with the 360 look back, twisting things upside down. Oh, so good. Looking for that killer combination would have been so cool. The height of Jose Torres Gil, he is on another level, blasting into another stratosphere as he just goes over that spine. And here it is, dodging traffic, around the cameraman, over the wire, and getting the half cab tail whip right to the pedals, very clean. And that is why he was awarded with the highest score of the 93.33.
Then we go back to the second runs here. Kostya Andreev pumping around, going all the way for some big tricks like that one, and then going into the double tail to foot jam with back in. Amazing riding coming out of the young Russian right there, and you see the crowd out in droves. And what does this mean? We just wrapped up heat number 3, but one more to go. Your top 4 qualifiers of the day.
Look at this view, center stage. This is the party. This is the spine ramp, and this is the feast. All riders, if you've never been here, plan, come here. Get to Montpellier, because you could potentially ride in the contest. We've got AMs, we've got experts, we've got pros, but we also have fellow fans that you can party and cheer on the other riders, even if you don't want to get in the ring and get in the arena. We're going to look at heat number 4. Jack Clark, Mark Webb, Justin Dowell, and Dennis Ederson. 4 stacked riders who have all had a big presence here in Montpellier. But our number 1 qualifier, Dennis Ederson, has definitely been winning the fans over as getting first place in our qualifier yesterday. You can see right there on the course, might have been a little bit of a beer spillage at the party. Catfish cleaning things up, getting ready for Jack Clark, Great Britain's rider, to drop in and get it done. If you have any moisture on top of the ramp, that's definitely not a good combination for the rubber of the tires. It can make it extremely slick and extremely slippery, especially when you need that balance point on the deck. Jack Clark, another rider who does bring it all together. Radio Bikes, one of his sponsors. Let's see if he's going to bring it more for the aerial maneuvers or on the lip tricks. Maybe a little bit of taste of both will be on his plate, but the 50-second starts for Jack Clark.
360 tail whip to tabletop. Flare whip right there for Mr. Clark. Inverted ice pick stall into, I believe, a 540 whip.
Over toothpick, bringing the back end right into the transition where he wants to be.
900 for Jack, but not holding on to that as well.
Ryan, that 900 was very interesting because he wasn't in a body position to necessarily throw the 900. It was almost as if he was coming in alley-ooped, but he had that commitment for the spin. There's a flare for Clark, 10 seconds to go. Double tire ride, checking in. 540 invert off the tombstone, opposite air, and it looks like Clark is going to have to bring the heat in his second run. So you see Clark right there checking the pressure of the back wheel, maybe lost a little bit of momentum. Usually the tire pressure could affect a rider on course. It could definitely affect as far as much your pump you put into the ramp. You get a little bit of a different feedback. So if your tires are harder, you get a little more responsiveness, and if they're softer, you could work the transition a little bit more. It's a little more forgiving, but also it could be spongy, and you could wind up washing out in one of the transitions if you don't have enough PSI or pounds per square inch in there. So these are all little tweaks that riders are able to do to any of their equipment or their bicycle and make it uniquely their own. 2 more riders remain. Excuse me, 3 more riders remain, and these are 3 big heavy hitters.
3 of the biggest. A rider who has made his name out here at Fees. You see the love for him. They truly love Mark Webb out here. That crowd, everyone in the audience knows who he is. And doing it as if it's his home turf. Mark Webb gets them on their feet while he drops in for his first run out here for glory.
Yeah, big no-handed 360 for Webby, straight into a flare turn down. The Webby show making it happen live right here as he goes over the spine. Webby is one of the most celebrated athletes in Montpellier because he brings it every single year, winning fans for over a decade as he always rides with his heart on the line and spinning around, sticking it clean.
The first rider today, Varga tried it, then Jack Clark tried it, and now done perfectly by Mark Webb, doing a foot jam, or a foot plant flare right there. 540 tire tap, coming back in, 4 seconds on the clock for a Spragestal 270 in, or a pedal star, pardon me, and that last one.
And a flip fakie, rolling out of it right there. Mark Webb getting it done and getting the cheers and chants from the crowd. Mark Webb is a superstar in BMX, and when he is in Montpellier, the fan love is unreal. You walk down the streets here, the hotels, the banners hanging out of the windows cheering on Mark Webb. He is an icon in BMX in Montpellier. Let's take a look as he goes up for a Fufanu. That's where you balance on your back wheel, utilizing the brake on the coping. But that 900 was fully committed. I love the way his body went completely sideways on his rotational spin. There's a 540 tail tap, also utilizing the brake. There's the pedal pick where he stalls right up on top of that sub wall, and then the 270 drop in, the backflip 180 with the no-hander, setting up for the flip fakie. Very Rick Thorne-esque right there as he gets that fakie rollout and throws it up to a huge roaring roar of applause from the crowd.
Mark Webb waiting for his score to come in. Of course, the one to beat is set by Jose Torres Gil with that incredible 93, and it's not enough for a great score, an 88.50 for Mark Webb. We have a new man in the top 3 right there. Bumps Kieran Riley into 3rd place. And boy, he's been trying his luck at this and qualified 2nd out there in the semifinals yesterday, all the way from America. This is Justin Dowell doing it for USA Cycling. Guy who's perfected some of the most incredible tricks in BMX, likely of the Twix. Let's see what he has out here on the mini ramp.
The Virginia Beach USA Ripper getting things done with a double bar spin on the spine as he tail whips this time to a bar spin, looking down, twisted sideways, transferring to the vert quarter, looking to pump his speed for a Twix.
There is the Twix.
That's what you were talking about, Ryan. That is the tail whip and the bar spin all in one air. Nothing is on the bike except your fingers just playing with the handlebars as he does a 360 double bar spin. Dowell alley-oop turn down flare. Let's see if Justin can keep this rolling with 10 seconds to go. Big 540 bar spin. Dowell working the transitions, 360 fakie. And a big three at the end right there. Big ups to Dowell. So we're seeing a lot of riders in the contest not have the free coaster. They have a traditional free wheel. That's why he has to pedal backwards, and he's able to get that full spin on the quarter.
You know, I just never figure out, it's so much more difficult pedaling backwards instead of pedaling forwards, even though it should be the exact same. Should actually even be easier. There's no tension between it. It's just like it should be a simple thing, but it becomes so difficult. But something that I will never figure out is that Twix. It's a bar spin. You see two of them right there on your screen, but it's a bar spin with a tail whip at the exact same time. He kicks it and he throws the bars. The bars are spinning the opposite way of the frame and the rear wheel, and nothing of his limb or his body is touching the bike. He catches it and lands, and he can also do that in a 360. This is just absolutely off of my understanding.
So Justin Dowell doing double duty this weekend. He is riding in our BMX Park competition. He also happens to be the 2018 UCI Cycling World Champion. So if he wanted to, he could be wearing the rainbow jersey tonight on the ramp as well. The UCI, it goes to any cycling event that they're involved with. And if you're the world champion, you get that top honor to do so. Dowell choosing to rock his Monster t-shirt as he gets an 87.83, and we work through the pack. 16 riders are in the competition. We witnessed 15 of them. Ryan, that means one rider remains.
And a big rider that is. He came out and joined us at the Fees last year, and we are so excited to see him at every stop. He's touring on with us. It is none other than Dennis Anderson. Such an incredible force on and off the bike, but right now he's on, and he is your first place semi-finalist. Over toothpick right there on the big coping to a double bar spin, pardon me. 360 on the spine and going up with a toothpick to disaster.
Anderson, one of the most talented all-around bike riders in the world right now. If you didn't get a chance to watch his Caps Lock video part he put out last year, do yourself a favor. Oh! Wow, so Dennis having some difficulty throwing things out over the spine. It looked like he maybe got a little bit lost and his body weight went off for whatever trick he was thinking about trying out there. So that obviously is going to very much impact his score of his first run, but he will have that second option. Look at the handlebars. They wound up moving back a little bit. Way more than a little bit, so he's going to have an opportunity to use an Allen key, adjust his bars, and put them back in spot and position. You know, Ryan, I had an opportunity to travel to Singapore and Australia earlier this year with Dennis, where I had a chance to see him ride some transition out there. He was ripping apart some concrete parks and some big quarter pipes, and seeing him just what he does on his off kind of session days is on a whole nother level as well. He is just such a confident rider.
Honestly, I have to tell you one of my fanboy moments. So I was hanging out in San Diego, riding some mountain bike stuff, and we ended up going to Claremont Skate Park one day. This is about like, I don't know, it must be a good 10 years ago. And then all of a sudden, Dennis Anderson shows up. 5 minutes later, Chad Curley rolls in, and then Daniel Sandoval rolls in. They're all just having like a cruise chill session of bike, and it was the most incredible thing. I was fanning on the side, just so elated watching these guys just have the time of their life. A chill lunch break, and it was the highest level of riding I've seen in my life.
How would that be for a humbling moment, right? You're working on some tricks yourself, you're riding, you're having a good time. You have three of the world's best riders showing up to the local park, throwing down some big tricks, even for them just kind of cruising around. Well, right now we're back to it in heat number 4. Great Britain's Jack Clark on course. He had some difficulty in his first run. Oh, man.
Oh, he's going to be upset with that one, but a big smile on Jack's face. That's fun.
I think when you walk the line like that, you cheat death and you're able to ride away, that smile will go on the face. Jack Clark 360 tabletop. Let's see if he just puts on a show in the zone. Maybe some of that pressure might have melted away and he could just get out there and feel the flow and really enjoy this moment with the tens of thousands of fans.
Oh, going for the 9 again and looping out. I don't know what is happening. We got a Saturday curse on the 900. Only one who's able to land that today, if we're talking BMX Park or the mini ramp, seems to be Mark Webb.
Man, so Jack Clark getting some difficulties out there. The clock is off, but Jack Clark is still punched in. He knows that we're gonna have our best trick comp, but what's he doing? Oh.
Man, Clark usually has this one. I've seen him land it so many times. Unfortunate that he's not able to pull it out right here in front of the crowd.
The Radio Bikes fused rider trying to get that rotation around. 2.5 spins, so difficult to do. Originally, Matt Hoffman, first rider, do it on the vert ramp. We're seeing guys do it on quarter pipes consistently. Like you said, normally Jack Clark, we've even seen variations out of Clark in the past. He might be thinking about doing some other version of it out there. So obviously this is just going to be for the fans in Montpellier and all of us watching at home. Oh.
Well, dumping it down that time, that was a lot better. He was too heavy on the rear wheel. I think he just said, yeah, I'll get it. I'll get it. Maybe fourth is the charm here. Too much at that point. I mean, it takes a lot of physical strength to work up just riding over this ramp, let alone doing 3 straight attempts at a 900.
So Jack Clark, the first rider of heat number 4 to put 2 runs down on paper. 3 more riders have an opportunity to alter the history and the standings out here. The score to beat is a 93.33 held by Jose Torres-Gil. Currently sitting in second is this man right here, the superstar icon of Montpellier BMX, Mark Webb. Thing to note about Webby's setup, his brake actually runs to the left side of his bike. Most riders, they choose to put it on the right, but that is all about the setup for Webb. Fully custom as he flares with the turn down straight into a no-handed flare. Webby going for the 9. Man.
Wow, in the middle of his run with 30 seconds left, Webby is really showing how he has that determination, and he is so comfortable with that trick. Decade 540 tire tap back in, tuck no hander on the spine quarter. 540 tuck no hander right there into a bar spin, setting up here for a 540 bar as well. Man, I'm getting caught in my mind. Huge combinations coming out of Webby.
There's that tire tap, 540 looking for the fakie. Oh, pedal pit coming back in, 270 Abubakar, putting it in reverse. Now, Ryan, I'm gonna give you a pass. Anytime you get tongue twisted when Mark Webb is on course, that's for good reason. Everyone is trying to make sense of what's going on, and you're doing it in real time. When Mark Webb is on the bike, it's a whole nother level. That's why he exploded onto the scene about a decade ago, where people were saying, who is this rider doing the craziest stuff out there? And everyone's like, Mark Webb, Mark Webb, Mark Webb. And then we saw it for the opportunity here on the spine. And year after year, Webb has always delivered. That's why that love, that support, the energy is just poured out to Mark Webb. Let's take a look, though. The Great Britain rider going for that decade tire tap coming in.
Then moving back for the next one right here. There's, I believe, opposite tail whip to foot jam, fader stall back in. Then we go here, 540 tire tap into 720, pedal stall, 270 in.
Yeah, such a cool trick right there. He just touched down with his pedal. He didn't stay there too long. That's a trick where you could wind up falling down on the coping, and if you wind up getting stuck there, you can't just pop around for the 270. So Mark Webb, Abubakar going backwards, and a flip! Trying to just put his weight forward over the handlebars and come in on that transition.
That's such a difficult one to get that front flip rotation with such little speed.
So Webb is going to wind up showing his love for our crowd. You can see Catfish on course talking with Mark Webb. 2 riders remain, currently sitting in third in 87.83. Very well-deserved score with the Twix and also the bar spin tail whip variations, but Justin Dowell did not become the 2018 UCI World Champion by not having what it takes to put a score well up into the 90s. Let's see if he could bring a little bit of that flavor from Virginia Beach here to France. Here we go, Dowell rolling in. Justin over the spine. Ooh, a 360, cranking that look back straight into a flare tail whip and a bar spin. So crazy, and his tire blew out.
Dowell, that's the upset of the evening, was on one, right? Did he blow his wheel as well? Yeah, just, or that's the rim.
Yeah,
no, that's the tire.
That's the tire.
That's one of those new tubes. I know that one.
Yep, so that's one of those new tubes right there. It's a high-end tube, supposed to be a little bit lighter, a little bit stronger. But the reason why a lot of our riders you see in contests wind up getting these blowouts, the tires and the wheels that they choose to ride are super light. So many parts on Justin Dowell's bike are all titanium. So when you have a tire that is such a thin sidewall, and also the beading on it is very thin to save weight, it's that kind of, you're getting in that territory where it's easy to just fold off the rim, and when it does, you wind up getting that blowout. Well, one rider, the pressure is on, but you couldn't tell by the big smile on his face. This is the Southern California Vans Haro rider of Dennis Anderson. He was our #1 qualifier. That means that in theory, he could bring it more so than any other rider out here on the ramp, but he definitely has the pressure stacked against him, and he has the crowd support.
But Dennis not being in the position that he's really going for. He's sitting in 15th, coming off of the first place out of the semifinals last night. He's really wanting to go for broke here.
Dennis having a good time. He was playing with the idea and the crowd of just saying he was going to do a flare drop-in. That definitely isn't Dennis's style, although I feel he could do anything on a bike blindfolded and his hands tied behind his back, because he is one of the best all-around riders of all time. Anderson, big nothing, spreading all of his limbs out over the spine. Can stepping through with the tire grab. Anderson, lucky stall, 270 back in. Bar spin to toboggan. Anderson twisting things into that turn down. Let's go, Anderson. Bar spin into the wall, difficult to do because it's not a full height. Opposite direction, yeah, Dennis. 180 double bar spin. Anderson looking for a big finish as he foot jams over the spine. Foot jam to fakie on the sub. Big move, oh, Anderson. Anderson right there, stumbling across the finish line. Talk about Anderson bringing his own flavor out here.
I want you to take these guys, because he's #1, you're going to go. If these guys get #1, you're destroying the crowd. You get this?
Anderson going for something up here on the deck.
Anderson just loving the energy here in Montpellier, another superstar of BMX. Here we go, Anderson, foot jam, fakie on the sub, coming in backwards. Ooh, looking for something, Ryan. Hand plant over the spine.
That definitely wasn't it, but I mean, having some fun out there. Still has a part contest to ride. I mean, there's so much action happening here at the Fees. You can see that is not going to be enough to upset the podium, but getting in 5th place there, Dennis Anderson.
So it looks like it's going to come down to Maligno right there. Jose Torres Gil with that top score of a 93.33, making Argentina proud as we are taking a bird's eye look down at Maligno. Big airs were definitely what he was serving up. So let's take a look at a result list. 93.33, Jose Torres Gil, followed by the icon of Mark Webb. Justin Dowell is going to wrap up your podium. Kieran Riley, Dennis Anderson, Kostya Andreev, Jason Watts, and then moving to the next page, Juan Medona, Mike Varga, Pat Casey, Tobias Frengeg, Bryce Tryon, and so on. What a final, Ryan.
What an incredible final. It's been so much hosting this one with you, Daryl. We had a great time out here, but it was so fun watching the audience up there. Make sure you guys stay tuned. We have a full day of action coming your way tomorrow. Ryan Meyer, this is Daryl now. Take care and see you next time.